What is up, guys? Welcome to the Cheap Thoughts podcast. I am here today with Coach Cristhian. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and watching us. My name is Cristhian Salazar. Some of you guys might know me already. I'm the owner of Fine Touch Futsal Academy, the FTFA Gunners. Last year actually, we built a semi-pro team, a UPSL team, 4th Division National. And I've been with the academy, I've owned the academy for the past 10 years. We established it back in 2013. And throughout the years, we've had a abundance of players coming through the ranks. So, yes,
wow. That's
yes.
actually, no, to run a semi-pro team or even like run all of that by yourself, or you have other associates with you as well?
No, I had the opportunity to hire coaching staff. So, yes.
Okay.
It's difficult to run it all on your own. It's extremely difficult, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and do you mind telling us a little bit like how you started? Just
how the academy started?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Actually, it started with my son, Xavier. He's now 23. He was, out of my 5 children, he's the one that actually pursued soccer as a kid. I used to coach him, and through the travel clubs that they had at the time, and it was like around when he was like around 11 or 12, something like that. We put a bunch of kids together. He told a bunch of his friends. We went to this Father's Day tournament. We won it, and with his winning goal as a penalty. That's actually how we got our name as well. I said, when you guys go out there and score, you guys got to actually be passionate about it. Go ahead, feel it. Score,
Yeah.
you got to celebrate it. Because they weren't really celebrating. So one of my players decided to gather everyone. The score was like 2-2 or something. We scored the third goal, right? Like about 10 minutes left on the game. And the one player, my whole team, right, lines up in the middle of the field. And the one player says, "Ready!" And everybody's watching, mind you, this is Father's Day tournament, so it's a bunch of families, everything. He gets down on one knee, and he goes, "Ready, set." Everybody goes like this, points at the other team, and my player says, "Fire!" And they go,
Oh,
everyone is watching in disbelief, myself included.
Yeah.
Right? The other coaches start screaming at me at the top of their lungs, "This is what you're teaching your kids. What is this, coach?" The ref turns around. She starts telling my kids, "No, stop." In the middle of the game, I didn't have time to react because I had taught them to celebrate, but not in that magnitude.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Not in a
actually,
way of like you're actually killing the other team.
Probably horrified the parents.
Oh my God, it was like the worst. It was the worst
man.
experience I've ever had. And then my license almost got taken away at the time.
Because of that?
Because I mean, the complaints went to the head of the tournament, whoever was running the tournament. And then, long story short, they forgave me, okay? The name stuck, Gunners. So, FTFA Gunners.
Wow.
And that has been the name for as long as. And now those players, a lot of them I still keep in contact with them. All right. They're in their 20s, 25, 24, but I still keep in contact with a lot of those players as well. But yeah, that's how the team name came about.
I'm not even going to lie. That sounds like the coolest origin story ever for a team, like just coming up with that name. Yeah, I know it sounds humiliating, but it's like you almost took that and you turned it into something powerful. Like powerful. Like actually, like now you got something to be afraid of. So you turned it into something. I think overall for the greater good. Like it's a cool thing. I love the name and the history of how that started. Speaking about the way things are here in this country compared to international. That's actually what this episode is going to be about today. What we're going to be talking about is how America has changed the way soccer should really be like, or football. Because it's changed the view, the audience, the game itself. Everything has just turned over. And I genuinely, in my opinion, I feel like it's changed for the worst. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it's not something permanent, but we're going to break down some questions and talk about I mean, how it changed, how it collapsed. And the first question is actually going professional. Like, why is it so difficult to go pro in America?
So yes, I do have a big strong opinion about it, and you're not wrong when you state that. Why is it so difficult here in the United States, right, where this is the land of opportunity? It's for many reasons, but let's just focus down on one main reason, right? It's not infrastructure, because infrastructure is like, if you compare, let's say, fields, right? Compare the United States fields versus South America or Africa, for example. They have dirt fields over there. But we have great African players. We have awesome South American players, right? Name me one popular American player. Right that out of the top of your head. Too late. You don't have it,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
understand? Yeah, right? So infrastructure, that is not the why we are not producing more pro players, okay? Education, yes. Education, it is. How does a plant grow? You water it, right? That's exactly how the plant grows, or how a tree grows. It's the same thing with the sport of soccer. You have to water it. The trainers, the coaches, club owners, right, and players. That's the four, pillars of the soccer world, or of the the athletic world. Let's say, right? We have club owners, you have trainers, you have coaches, and you have the players, right? The players are the product, right? In order for this to evolve, right, to get to higher levels. So what other countries have done is they focused on the education of the training, right? How do you develop a strong, not just physically, not just technically, but mentally strong athlete, right? That
Yeah.
that has what that there's some players that are born naturally with that talent, but talent is not enough. Okay, they need education. So the soccer player that needs to, or that wants to get there, everybody has a want, everybody has a need, right? But between the want and the getting there, it's like a big space, right? And that's where everybody gets lost. You follow?
Yeah, no, and I feel like in regards to like the infrastructure, America, we have the money. We have the great fields, we have great quality coaches, we have great quality like even food, education, resources. We have so much to give. And I feel like in a way that kind of holds us back because we have things given to us. We have too many resources. We have access to gyms, programs like
Yep.
physical therapy. When internationally, they don't have those things. It's not the same. They have to really work hard, and really struggle, and they adapt to harsher conditions because of their economy is not doing as well as ours, and that like really messes things up over here personally. That's how I see it. If they have everything given to them, no one's ever going to become, or it's going to be more difficult to be greater here than international. That's how I see it.
Of course. No, you're absolutely right. Europe is in a whole different level. Okay, we can't even compare. They have it down pat. Okay, they understand how to develop a great soccer player. They understand how to develop a great athlete. And soccer or football itself has been evolving. Now it's changed a lot on how we play the game. Right now, they're more focused on developing the athlete. How do you develop an athlete? Well, you need a good coach, you need a good trainer, right, to instill this certain disciplines in the players. Because becoming an athlete is one of the hardest professions that you will, if you pick to be an athlete, it's going to be one of the hardest professions that you ever pick. Okay, you have to be super disciplined. But if you don't have the knowledge, you can't. You're gonna get lost in that big space that we're talking about.
No, you're absolutely correct. I completely agree with what you're saying in regards to that. What challenges do professional soccer players face in America compared to other countries?
Okay, so three of the pillars that we have in the academy, right, is you guys see a lot of you guys see the 3 stars. Okay, there's 3 stars in the back of our jerseys. There's 3 stars sometimes on the hats that I wear, and the 3 stars represent discipline, hard work, and creativity. Okay, if you don't have the discipline and you don't have the hard work ethic, it's going to be very difficult for you to make it as an athlete. It's going to be very difficult for you to make it anywhere.
Yeah.
Period. All
I
right.
agree.
If you don't have discipline and you don't have the hard work ethic, you are not going to make it. I don't care what profession you choose. Now, athlete is one
Yeah.
of the hardest profession because you have to be very disciplined in your body. Right.
Yeah.
So for those guys that like to go out clubbing, drinking, girls, here, there, driving late, those things they play a toll on your body. As an athlete, you're not going to be able to perform, right? As well as somebody that takes care of their diet or somebody that takes care of their body, religiously, very
Yeah.
disciplined with themselves. So,
And do you feel like players that are naturally born with talent, it's a little bit easier for them when it comes to those challenges, or it's all the same for everyone? They have to face those challenges the same way, and it's like,
so there has been players, right, down the history of football where they perform better if they party. They perform better if they stayed out late. They perform
what?
better if they were with a lot of girls around them. All right, but it's very few. Okay, the window for those players is tiny. I'm talking about the Romarios of the world, the Ronaldinhos of the world, the Maradonas of the world. Maradona was a coke addict. He used cocaine on a regular basis. Okay,
Wow.
and look at the talent that he had. You understand? So some of these players, you don't see Maradonas, you don't see the Cruyffs, you don't see Ronaldinhos just like that. So yes, to answer your question, you're not. Listen, you're not gonna be. You know when you see a Ronaldinho, you know when you see a Maradona very young, or a Messi at a very young age. You know it, right? But yes, you need to be disciplined and have that hard work ethic.
There's a lot of players out there that also have those restrictions that I wish, they would just tap into their potential and keep, like, just train, work hard, face those challenges. Because I know a lot of people say that Messi doesn't train as hard or things like that. I personally, I don't know if he has or hasn't. He probably does behind the scenes, but I would like to see more videos of Messi working out harder than
Training.
Ronaldo. Yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see him beyond the level that he's at now, even though he is also a legend himself.
So people always compare, right, Messi and Ronaldo. That
Yeah.
comparison has always been, right? And a lot of people have asked me, who do you like better? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, listen, they are completely different. Messi is born with this talent, okay? Does he work as hard as Ronaldo? I don't know, okay? But it is great examples, right, to society because Ronaldo has shown the world that if you're disciplined and you work hard, you can be as good as somebody that is born with it. I'm not saying that Messi wasn't disciplined at all.
Yeah.
You have to have a good infrastructure around you, family that can support you to get to those levels, right? And that's what that's what Messi had, right? Messi at age of 12 or 13, his father, was going to different clubs, even younger. He was going to different clubs around Argentina to place his son in a good growing environment.
Yeah.
And he ended in Barcelona.
So you're saying both are from totally different classes, but they're both legends regardless. Ronaldo.
Both legends, of course.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that behind the scenes, I don't know who works harder. Both are phenomenal players, but I would like to see people like reach their full potential and go beyond that too. That's something that I just love. Like, and that goes for all the like soccer players out there. I genuinely feel like if you have anything holding you back, you should like let that go and really focus on your pursuits, on your dreams, on your career. It doesn't even have to be soccer. It could be anything else. That's something that I tell myself every day too. Like, there's always going to be distractions, and we're only human. But like, to practice religiously, that's something
It's
I would
difficult.
like to come out different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
My next question actually was going to be, how does the level of competition in Major League Soccer compare to other top soccer leagues around the world?
Let's break that one down for a minute. Okay, top soccer leagues around the world. The Mexican League is right there with the MLS. Okay, so let's not include that one.
Yeah.
Okay, in South America, you could only compare it with the Argentine talent-wise, right? Into
Yeah.
the Argentinian League, Argentina and Brazil, and then we have the leagues in Europe, which is English League, EPL. Then we have La Liga in Spain. We have German League, okay, Bundesliga, and then we have the one in Paris, or in France, sorry, and the one in the Dutch league, okay, in Holland, Netherlands. You can. How do we compare against them? Well, MLS makes an investment, right, every season or every year, okay, and the investment that they have focused on was to bring stars, okay, stars, not stars in their prime, stars that are ready to check out. Okay, because every MLS is a business. You got to look, football or soccer has become a business. Let's be, honest. And this is the title of this podcast is the harsh truth about becoming a pro soccer player. All right, we have to talk about the harsh truth. All right, so the harsh truth is that the sport itself has become a business. America is the number one business a country in the world. That's why everybody wants to come here, right?
Yeah.
Because we generate income, right? So anything that you look at, you must look at it as a business. So when they look at it, MLS as a business, right? They say, okay, we need to make the MLS grow. Let's bring, stars that are about to retire. They're ready to check out. Invest in them, and that'll put people on the seats, right? That'll increase our revenue. We'll sell shirts, we'll sell jerseys, and they're not focusing on the sport itself. They're focusing on the business part of it, all right? So, on contrary, other countries, other leagues, the leagues that I just mentioned, they focus on the development of the player or the sport itself. The business part comes after. It just evolves on its own, basically. Now, can the MLS or can the United States Soccer Federation have a different infrastructure or a different plan to grow soccer players or to grow the sport here in the U.S.? Absolutely, they can. Okay, but they have chosen to take that route. All right, so that's how, some of the soccer players or some of the knowledge or some of the education that coaches and trainers are exposed to here in the U.S. is limited. That's why you have better coaches or better training. If you have better coaches and better training and better clubs, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have better players.
Like how you said, this is like a country for businesses, for making money, for the economy. And it's like, I think they're more in it for the money. And it ruins what soccer really is.
The essence, right?
Yeah, it ruins the essence of it. It's like when the U.S. uses their funds to give them, like we talked about earlier, they give them everything. I feel like our players it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural. It just feels like marketing. We make the game seem bigger than what they actually are. And when you see it internationally or in other leagues, like you see it and they don't make it as big, or they don't make it like such a big money thing.
The product sells itself. Have you ever heard that expression? The product sells itself.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So the product that they produce in other countries, their value is higher. Why? Because they invest more in the product as when they're kids, as opposed to not here in the U.S. As opposed to not investing in the product when they're kids.
Yeah, and that comes with obviously their players, like how we said, the players, the fields, the resources that they have. They invest a lot of products, but I don't feel like those players are natural. That also includes with like networking. The son or the parents, they could have a lot of money or a lot of funds, and of course you could join the academy.
Right.
We know your dad, we know your mom.
Exactly. Your father used to play for the academy. Now the sons play for the academy. Or your nephews play for the the club or the academy. That's how that networking expands, right? There's a lot of ex-soccer players that have their sons. Zidane had his sons in El Castilla, the Real Madrid youth levels. Who else? There's a bunch of players. Cruyff, he went through Barcelona, right? He became president of Barcelona, and now his son was involved in the Barcelona directors and stuff like that. So it's a bunch of things, a bunch of players like that.
They have made so much money, but at what cost? We lost where the real value is at, and that's the sport itself. And I hate that. It still bothers me to this day because it's like we all notice this, and it's like nothing can be done.
Nobody does anything about it.
Because they're the ones making money. The people that could do something about it are making the money.
Right.
So it's just ridiculous.
You know what? Actually, talking about it is a good thing because you're actually putting that problem into the ears of society.
Yeah,
You know
they're
what I
being
mean?
conscious of it.
Exactly.
Now they're aware. Like I feel like that's the goal here too. You know, the more we talk about it, the more it's gonna come to people's attention. And to be honest, that's the best thing we can do in this scenario because, like I said, it's not like we can go up there and just change the rules of everything. It's not like
No.
we're not the people that are federal. They are, but
Yeah,
that it is how it is for now. But I genuinely hope the way we see soccer, the way soccer is shown here, I hope it changes for the better because the sport is beautiful. It's always gonna be beautiful, and making money off of it, like it runs itself. We've seen it internationally. It runs itself.
It's right. It does.
It doesn't have
There's
to
no
be all
need.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
people
no
are
need.
greedy. That's what it is. What are the key differences in training and development for professional soccer players in America versus other soccer playing, like other countries?
One of the key differences is the hard work ethic that you gotta have. It's very difficult to get up every day.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be on a daily basis, man. You're thinking pro. You're thinking you're going to go against the best of the best. You can't do this 3 times a week and then your game on Sunday. And then you score 3 goals and you feel good. Yo, I'm good. I'm going to make it pro. Nah, bro.
Nah, bro.
No way.
That's not how it works.
It's not how it works at all. All right. It's on a daily basis. It's on a schedule. It's on a, I'm going to do physical training here. I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. I'm going to work on my legs. I'm going to work on my diet on a daily basis, right? I'm going to read something that has to do with my profession, right? How do you mentally prepare yourself for these things? So that's another thing, right? Players nowadays, they don't mentally, or athletes, let's stick to soccer because that's what we're talking about, right? So soccer players don't mentally prepare themselves for a competition. This is high levels competition. You were just asking me before about the Champions League game. Mm-hmm. That's going to be happening later on today. Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund, right? The level of preparation mentally for those players is not superb. It's beyond superb. So compare yourself to the mental preparation that they have been doing since they were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that way by the time you're 16, clubs are already looking at you. But that starts with that's like a whole lifetime, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
It was for years.
Of mentally preparation or getting yourself into a routine. Mm-hmm. Right, of preparation, right? And parents were involved, okay? Parents were always involved. The circle that kid had, the parents had a plan for those players, okay? There is a reel that I saw recently that said all the greatest people that we have ever known, mm-hmm. most of them, all right, they had people telling them what to do. And he gave examples. Michael Jackson, he had somebody telling him exactly what to do. All right, the Williams sisters, they had their father, Richard. He had a plan he made a plan for them before they were even born. And He stuck to that plan, and look at where they are. They're the best in the world, best tennis players in the world. They made history, okay? Michael Jordan, right? Everybody wears Jordans now, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because of his parents. They had a plan for Jordan, right? So if our parents, I'm talking now to the parents, to the soccer parents, if you develop a plan for your children, okay, they will be at the highest levels possible in society. But if you don't, they just won't. And you can push your kid. Oh, you're not doing, because you hear parents constantly saying, oh, my kid's so lazy. Oh, they're on the phone. Oh, they're in TV. Oh, they're on the computer. Oh, we're living in the informational age, right? You complain about your kids not being developed a certain way, but it's our responsibility to develop. It's your responsibility as a parent to develop. It's your responsibility to look for programs for your children. If you want to be a top soccer player, it's on a daily basis that you have to be there. Okay? It's on a daily basis that you have to prepare his meals for him or her meals for her. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's on a daily basis that you got to watch their diet, not take them to McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut. No, that's not going to help your kid. Yeah, right?
No, you're right.
It's on a daily basis, so it becomes it's how we are raising our kids. We expect them to be high levels, but you're not doing anything to get them to those higher levels. Listen, kids are very, very smart.
Yeah.
Kids are not, listen, the batch of kids of these new generations, they are a lot smarter, okay, than my generation, than when I was born, let's say. Okay? And they're a lot smarter, right, than the generation before us, like the baby boomers. I'm Generation X, I think, okay? Then before that, there was generation, baby boomers, which is our parents, okay? And so on and so on and so on. So this new generation, this new batch of kids, they are super, super intuitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They go by feeling. They go by emotion. They understand. Okay, I've had kids, right? That their parents bring them through the academy or through the teams, and they're like 8, 7, 8, 9 year olds, right? And they've come from a different team or whatever, or sometimes they come because they want to try out my program because we're a futsal program as well. So they come from different travel teams, and the mom comes to me and tells me, my kid just wants to get coached here with you. They're intuitive. I only see them like 2 times, 3 times a week. But no, they don't want to go to my other team. They just want to come here with you.
Yeah.
All right, because you have to have a connection, right, with the player or with the human being in order for that human being to develop a certain way, or to bring the best out of that player, or to bring the best out of that human being that's passing through you. If you don't know how to make that connection as a coach, as a trainer, as a parent, you need to learn.
Yeah, that's something that I feel
you need to learn.
It's very essential. And at what point do you feel like because going back on topic in regards to going pro, at what point do you feel like a kid should start the process? Let's say, or if someone wants to be a pro soccer player, what would be the best age? People always say it's going to be 3 years old, 4 years old. It has to be at a very young age. But do you think it's possible for someone to go pro at a later time? Like, what's the best age?
It is possible. I'm not saying that the guys that are between the ages of 13 and 16 and you just started soccer, it's not possible. That's not what I'm saying. But it is more difficult. Okay, for example, Thierry Henry, he started when he was like 13. That's old already. 13 is like you're playing already competition. You know what I mean? High competitive soccer, depending on when you start. So the best age is always when they're younger, or when they're youngest. Okay, 6 years old, 6, 7. That's when you wanna really, and you have to pay attention to your child as well, because then you have the parents that have the love for the sport or have the love for soccer, and they expect their kid to have it. So then they push their kid to a certain sport or to soccer, and the kid is not really feeling it.
Yeah.
I
felt like that with baseball. I don't even go off topic, but my dad tried to put me in baseball. I didn't like it.
Right.
And I leaned towards soccer.
Right.
The more he put that on me, the
less that you wanted to go. Right.
Yeah. But I did enjoy. I played it for a while, But I feel like parents put a lot of pressure in regards to that, and some parents put the pressure for what they want their kids to be, what they want to mold them into, but they don't put in the work either to help that kid out, to give them the resources, or let alone guide them on the right path. And like I said, I feel like to go pro here in America is extremely difficult at a later time. Like I see what you're saying.
Yes,
you say
it is
you gotta
harder.
start at a young age. It's crazy how you feel like in other countries or internationally, they can still go pro at a later time, or that's even more difficult because of, they want to look for the best at a young age.
So they start looking at players already between the ages of 11 and 15. Okay, 11 and 15, that's when they start looking at players already to see who's gonna go into the professional route. All right. So yeah, I mean, I'm talking about other countries, and I'm almost positive that they started that process here in the United States as well.
Yeah, I feel like that started happening as soccer became something bigger. It became more of an influence. They started just finding the statistics
Yeah.
of when their best players come in, and they started
Yeah.
noticing.
Yeah.
That does make a lot of sense. What opportunities exist for young aspiring soccer players to break into the professional ranks in America?
Opportunities.
Mhm.
So the UPSL league, for example, okay, those leagues, the leagues here, the semi-pro leagues, okay, the fourth division UPSL, third division USL.
Mhm.
There's also another one, NPSL. Those are leagues that got formed recently. Okay, they're not leagues that are old, but they saw the massive amount of players that got lost between high school, college, and professional, that they saw an infrastructure to give to those players so they can develop their skills or get to work on it. And some players did make it to Major League Soccer, MLS, through those venues. Okay, so that's an opportunity. You work hard to get to those levels or to get into try out to one of those teams, and that's an opportunity. But the opportunities are also limited because it comes down to connections also, right? If you're not doing it from a young age, and you don't make the right contacts or the right connections, so you're not in the right school program, you're not in the right school soccer program, I'm talking about, okay, in the right per your level, which happens a lot as well. All right, there's different levels for the kids, and sometimes kids are killing it and they're in the wrong level. Sometimes teams are scoring like 8-0 or whatever, but they're in the wrong level.
Yeah. So, do you feel like at a certain point when you play in the UPSL or you play in those leagues and someone scouts you into the MLS, as you go higher, it gets harder for you to move up in the ranks? So, you can still get scouted off of UPSL, right? You can move up the ranks, but do you feel like at that point people get stuck after that?
You can become complacent, right, as an athlete. But as a pro soccer player, I'm not talking about a star, okay? I'm talking about a regular pro MLS player.
Mm-hmm.
They make last time I checked, it was like between 30,000 and 100,000, I think it was. I don't know, the numbers might have changed now, okay, but I'm talking about a couple of years back, okay, to make it pro in the MLS, 100,000, and you're an average player, you play MLS. Okay, it's not bad. All right, so you can be happy already at 100,000, right? You can be happy at 80,000. You can be happy at 200,000. So it all depends on how high the player wants to go, right? What his ambitions are. That comes from within. That comes from the formation that you get. Some play you can get complacent. The opportunities are there. Okay, I'm not saying that they're not. The infrastructure is there. Okay, I'm not saying that it's not. You can make it pro. There's examples, if you look in through the UPSL leagues, there's some players that made it through there. Even USL as well. Those are platforms that MLS looks into, right? MLS does look at those players. USL, MLS Next, for example, is another platform that they've created, right? So they can have a funnel into MLS, right? MLS needs a funnel of players, right? Because there's players checking out, you need new players. So they came up with MLS Next. They noticed that USL Championship, I think it is, second division, and then there's USL 1 and USL 2, third division and fourth division. Okay, those leagues, it's a funnel for the MLS. But I feel that MLS looks outside of the US more than they look here.
When players get complacent, I just feel like most people, they don't settle for just the right amount. I made a good amount of money, then, they like staying it that way. I feel like all players, to some degree, they want to reach for
the highest level possible.
Yeah, because you work hard, right? You work hard for every time you play. You always want to be the best.
Who's to determine how hard you're working, though?
That
right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it's a combination of things. You can work hard on one thing, but you have to be good at all things, even until the end of their careers, right? The top players, Ronaldo always talked about working on something. He worked on his free kicks. He wasn't good with his left leg, so he worked as a professional. He was already in Man United, I think it was.
Yeah.
Right. There's stories about Carlitos Tevez talking about Ronaldo, how he used to stay, right, outside for training sessions just taking free kicks with his left or his right because consciously you know that you're weak on something. So who's to determine how hard you're working, right? How do we measure that, right? How do we
Yeah.
measure how hard you make? And it has got to be a combination of things, okay? Not just physically, mentally, you know. Mentally, players go down, right? Mentally, the players bring themselves down because they don't have the results that they're not getting picked. They're not in the starting 11. You know,
Yeah.
they don't have the right attitude. Right? That's another thing. You know, the development of the right attitude to becoming an athlete, the never giving up mentality to become an athlete. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was going to mention before regarding Real Madrid, for example. They have players that their mentality is never to give up. That's why Real Madrid. I'm not a Real Madrid fan, by the way. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just letting you guys know. I know I'm wearing all white today, but it's because it's summer out.
Yeah, no, I get that.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the mentality that they have. That the preparation is superb. That's why they have the most cups. The players that they have, that Real Madrid hires, is elite. They have 15 Champions Leagues. If you watch their games, watch their last 5 finals with Ancelotti, with Zidane, never giving up mentality. Aside from their talent, it's not their talent that made them win those championships. No, it's the mentality that they had that I'm not giving up until that ref blows that whistle.
Yeah.
Now, go back to UPSL players, go back to MLS players. How many players, I'm sorry I'm going to get up, but if they miss a shot, right, or they miss a play, they miss a tackle, how many, this body language.
Oh yeah, I see that all the time.
Looking at the grass. What the hell are you looking at the grass for, man? Get back in it, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's the mentality wise, right? And that is formed from when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Not at 15, not at 16, it's too late. You know what I mean? I mean, it can still get developed, but
It just declines at that point. It just like slow decline. And it's like, it gets tough. No, it does get tough. Do you believe that there can be a better system for players to become professional in the U.S.?
Yes.
How?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It stems down to education. Okay? It stems down to preparation and education. Okay? The United States Soccer Federation and let's say Soccer Federation from England or the Soccer Federation from Brazil, the Soccer Federation from Spain, the Soccer Federation of Argentina, right? They all have plans, right? Plans of action for, let's say, the next World Cup or for the next upcoming players, for their next national team, let's say, right? So you got to compare, right? What type of plan of action does the United States have? Let's say, right, for their education in that sport to develop. Because our education here for trainers, for coaches, for club owners, and for players is very, very low. Okay? In comparison to the education that the Spaniards are getting, in comparison to the education the Brazilians are getting. Aside from talent, I'm not talking about talent. Okay, Brazilian is boom with talent. We all see all those videos. Argentinians, the mentality, the technique, you know, the persistency. Uruguayans, the same way, right? The level of education the Argentinians, English, Spanish, Netherlands, right? That they invest in their societies for the sport is above and beyond in comparison to the education here in the United States.
I feel like education is important. Do you feel like they need to go to college though to be pro? Because that is a requirement here in the U.S., isn't that?
To coach, you need an F license, right? To coach, and then it goes from there. You go from the F, E, D, C, B, and A. Being able to coach is like a FIFA license, okay? But the minimum requirement is an F license. Should you go to college? Yes, I feel that you should. You don't necessarily need to. But if it's something that you want to pursue, I would find the education. I would find books on it. I would read them. You know, I would put them into practice, right? I would volunteer to start with the younger. Nobody wants to teach younger kids because they're too It's too difficult. Oh, they run all over the place. I'm not watching somebody's kids. Well, that's where
it
you're
starts,
gonna. That's
though.
where you're
That's
gonna.
where it starts.
That's how you're gonna know whether you have what it takes, right, to hold the team together, right?
Yeah.
To have that discipline to a team. If you have what it takes to discipline a team, you can discipline one. That's your child, for example, right? But how about a team of 11 or a team of 15? How do you manage all of them?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if you can't discipline yourself, how can you possibly expect to have discipline on other people?
On a group of right.
It could be really tough as a coach. And do you feel like even players as well though should go to college, or do you feel, because there's a lot of players out there that are so talented that just school just isn't for them. Like, not that it isn't, anyone's capable of it, but some of them just rather not go through that process. Do you feel like that is fair to them, to top players? Players that haven't, do you feel like every player should go to college and get that degree so they can go pro? Or you feel like if you're at a certain rank, you could skip that and just go straight to pro?
I personally, it's my personal opinion, you don't need to go to college to go pro. Okay? It's just my personal opinion. There has been, cases where people have not. They just acquired the education for it. They were dedicated, okay? They were disciplined, they were dedicated, they never gave up on their dreams or their vision, and they just, this is what I'm gonna be and this is what I'm gonna be, and they made it. Okay? We're not having this talk to say, oh, this is a shortcut. This is what you gotta do. No, we're just talking about the subject, right? We're just letting it interchanging ideas, right? What I may say or what he may say might not fit your way of development, right? But something else may, all right? So you have to see what's gonna work for you individually, okay? If you, like you just mentioned, for example, there's lots of players that are not for school. They're not for the academic type, but you, do you need to make it in athletics, do you need to go to college to make it in athletics? Personally, no. If you have the drive, if you have the discipline, like I said, no. But it could help. It could help. You don't have to go to college, but you can get the knowledge a different way. We've been living in the information age for the past 20 years. Why do you think it's called the information age? Because the information is at the palm of our hands. There's no need for us. Before, it was like, yes, we have to go to school. They had this structure, right? You have to go to school to get the information. Then you have to go after high school, or you got to go to college to get more information, right? To get a diploma, right? We're not there. We're surpassed that now. Okay, this is now, we're talking about the industrial age. Don't get stuck in the industrial age. Okay, that was the industrial age. Now we're in the information age, and we're actually ending the informational age. Okay, now we're going into the intuitive age, intuition. Okay, so the information age is called information age because everything is accessible to us. All the information that we need is at the palm of our hands.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to a school anymore. You don't need to go to a college anymore. You don't need to go to a facility anymore. You can actually develop yourself.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also have an answer to that question as well. Like, in my opinion, I feel like school isn't a requirement. College isn't a requirement for you to be a professional player. But I feel like it's an essential core to you as a person overall. Because it's the same thing with like how we were talking about earlier. Sometimes professional players, they stay like at that same level. They're satisfied, they're content with what they have, and they make a good amount. But I feel like if going to school, sometimes you're like, I don't need school. I'm good at where I am. I'm good. I'm semi-pro, or I play MLS, or not MLS. I play at a certain league. I'm satisfied. I feel like school can just mold you into the person that you need to become. It still builds you. You're still learning, whether it's resources, whether it's a soccer club, whether it's another thing that you could be curious about, something important. It can build you to collect. It could better you to collect information. You learn how to write. You learn how to do things on your own. You gain a little bit of your own independence while you're in college, and I feel like it is an essential thing. You're exercising your brain to do different things which is the goal. You know, as a human being, you want to improve mentally. You want to improve with, you know, like critical thinking, and it exercises that, and that could maybe in some way help you better in the soccer world. Even though you could be super talented and great and phenomenal, school's not your strong suit. That's something that you also work on, so it could be, so you're more well around.
Well said, Sam.
You
Well
never
said.
know.
I like that answer. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. It helps you to get social as well. All right. You're on your own. You're by yourself. You don't have mom and dad anymore, or your siblings. You know, you're on your own. So it teaches you independence, right? It teaches you a bunch of things outside of the academics. So should you take this step? Sure. Why not? You know, of course, it can only help. It cannot hurt.
Yeah, that's 100%. Where would you recommend young players to go to so they can start the process of becoming a professional soccer player? We did say UPSL is good, but what if someone isn't ready for that step yet? Let's go a little bit back. Where would they be good at starting? Like, where should be a good place to start at?
Give me an age range.
Say, let's think in the perspective of a parent, and you have a
Okay.
child. He's 7, like 6 to 10, around there, and he wants to start with soccer. He's interested in soccer. I want to work on getting him professional. Where should I start to like push him towards? Where's the-
FTFA.
Yeah, that would be a good one. That would be a good one.
No, well, okay. Well, obviously, I'm gonna say my academy because
Yeah.
you know I own that academy. But there's different venues. Okay, my advice to the parent would be to do their research. Okay, do their diligent research. Ask questions. There is many academies out there. There's many clubs, competitive in within their formation years. Okay, they take them step by step to see how the kids as a team are developing. All right, so I would do my research. There's many academies out there, but I would ask questions to the coaches. I would ask questions to the trainers. Questions like, you may say, well, what kind of questions do I ask? Well, you will say, what type of program are you running here let's say this year or this season? What can I do differently with my kid at home that can help him perform better in the team? So for example, you have an only child, right? You have an only child, it's just him, right? Or her. And you implement him or her into a team environment. What happens? That child is not going to know how to share.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Right? That it's going to be something that has not, I mean, we can tell him verbally, but he hasn't seen it, he hasn't visualized it, right? He hasn't done it, right? Because there's 3 different ways of learning. Is through hearsay, right? What you listen, is what you see, right? And how you do it.
Yeah.
Right? So you verbally, how you do it. It's like through theory, right? It's what you hear. With the system that they have in school, they teach you something in history. You know, you hear it. You never lived it.
Yeah.
We haven't lived a war, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You're right.
But those people that did live a war, you know, they understand that was a way of learning too. Harsh times, right? So they've learned by practice. So those 3 different ways. So you got to figure out how your kid learns.
Yeah, more importantly, starting with the research, and if you want your kid to work up towards that, or if you're the person that wants to be pro, that as well, because it's always going to be research, and I feel like a good place to start would be FTFA. You never know, man. It probably would be. Do you recommend FTFA to all the parents, all the kids or upcoming dreamers that want to be pro? Do you feel like that would be a great place to start as well?
I do. Okay, I do. But FTFA might not be the right fit for you. So the only way to know if FTFA is the right fit for you is to go through it, right?
Yeah.
The only way to know if FTFA is the right fit for you is to ask questions about FTFA to other people. Because I can say the greatest things about FTFA, right?
Yeah.
I'm the one that built it. I'm the one that established it. I'm the one that went through all those years of harsh work.
But people will look at you like, oh, he's marketing.
Exactly.
He's selling himself.
Exactly.
But in short, the best way is to try.
Go through, to try, or to go through ask around who has been, have you played with FTFA? What do you think about FTFA? You know,
That's true. I completely agree. Is there any last words that you would like to say to all the dreamers out there that want to go pro, whether international or here in the country?
Yeah, stop dreaming. When you dream, right? Sometimes it's just like it's like a hope. It's just like it's there. It's unattainable. I want you to visualize. Visualize. Visualize what you are going to be. Visualize how you're going to do it. Visualize what you're going to do next. Right? Write it down on a piece of paper. Right? Okay, this is what I got to start going to the gym. Okay, let's start tomorrow. Right? Visualize. You visualize yourself, right? You close your eyes before you go to bed, right? Some of you guys might say a prayer. Some of you guys may visualize. Ronaldo talks about it all the time, right? He visualized these things when he was, younging, when he was in Portugal, right? That was what his vision was. He wasn't dreaming. You understand? So my big message would be to stop dreaming. Don't dream. Visualize, because visualize is closer to action. Dreaming is closer to something that is not real.
Wow, man, that's actually, I completely agree. I feel like people should just get out there and actually visualize and manifest and see
Yes.
those things. That's the only way you can really get ahead in life and be okay with being bad at things. To be great at things, you have to start being bad at it first.
Yes.
I genuinely feel like that's something that I have to face every single day, whether it's filming this podcast or being better with my film, photography business, anything in life. And soccer is it's really hard to get to that point, but it's attainable. It's possible.
Yes.
You just have to work hard and manifest it for yourself. I am Samuel Sanchez. Thank you guys for watching this entire episode. We will have future episodes coming in soon. And make sure you watch the previous ones. Make sure you guys take a look at FTFA Gunners. We have the page right here down below. Check it out. This man, he's brilliant. He's been working with people of all ages, and he's a phenomenal dad and coach. So thank you for all your time, man.
Thank
I
you very much,
appreciate it.
Sam. I appreciate it.
Yep. I'll see you guys on the next episode. We are out. That's a wrap. Oh, man.
That was good. That was a very nice conversation.